Could you survive with nothing but the kit in your airplane?
It's because a lot of us carry survival kits in our airplanes. So a lot of people have never opened them, and they're not familiar with the contents or how to use them or even what works and what doesn't.
So here we go, into the pack.
We've got a bunch of BC pilots and search and rescue technicians together.
You could so easily die right there, like right there.
Even with all the survival equipment, you can still die.
Spending the night out with just a small kit created some sweat, tears, and I can confirm there was blood too.
So that's a good cut right there.
It's the responsibility of the pilot in command to keep their aircraft and passengers safe. That includes dealing with a forced landing that could leave you stranded. To see how I stacked up and hopefully learn a few things, I signed up to join the Survival Shakedown weekend workshop put on by Ryan Van Haren and the BC General Aviation Association. Along for the ride is friend and fellow aviation YouTuber Brad Friesen. The BC backcountry is the area these guys have to fly, and it's both awesome and unforgiving. Before we set out on this adventure, I got up flying with both Ryan and Brad on separate occasions to talk about some survival scenarios.
Positive rate, gear up.
Flying this fast Comanche put us over the mountains in no time. And then we flew low and slow with cinematographer Trevin in Brad's R44 Raven.
01 Juliet, the helicopter's on the move there.
And that's why being a helicopter is better. The group of 20 pilots crammed into a small classroom to learn about what we were in for.
So we're flying from Kelowna to Chilliwack today. You've got the survival kit that you would normally take in your airplane. It is just you're flying alone, and you have a forced approach where the airplane sits is totally unsafe to be, so the airplane's unusable for shelter. But you're fortunate enough to get out of the airplane with your survival kit and relatively unharmed, and rescues at least 24 hours away.
It was really cool to have operational StarTechs leading this course.
It's so funny actually talking with pilots is that you guys are always attention detail oriented. The three of us would have said there was a plane crash and now you can go survive.
Joking aside, this was going to be a very tough night out in a mountainous forest.
But just because you have all the survival equipment in the world doesn't mean you're going to survive. So if you become dehydrated, it's going to affect your mind, it's going to affect your energy levels. Knowledge, preparation, experience equals confidence. You guys all know the rule of threes? 3 minutes without air, 3 hours without shelter, 3 days without water, and then 3 weeks without food. Okay.
If you have a serious injury, a serious concern, you're feeling hypothermic, don't hesitate at all to share that with us. In the eventuality that something does need to occur, we'll have ourselves, we're medics, we're capable of extracting you out of there.
This was going to be as real as we could make it without actually risking our lives.
The first 24 hours of you guys crashing in the bush is the most energy you are going to have.
And in this region, just a few minutes of flight time can put you in a spot that can have you stranded for days.
I think you only need a survival kit in the aircraft if you're more than, 25 miles from your home airport?
I think those are the regs.
That's the regs, which is crazy because you don't have to go very far, 6 minutes, and you could so easily die right there, like right there.
Ultimately, whatever you're wearing might be all you have because what your kit in the back might burn or sink.
You know, you can't count on having anything, and I'm actually the worst I'm prepared for survival, but I'm not prepared for with what I fly in.
Ryan added some additional insights as to how this whole thing came about.
So a couple of our members said, hey, maybe we could do like a classroom thing on survival. And I thought, well, we could do better, actually go use the kits. We did the first survival shakedown last year, and the whole point is it's not to be all, hardcore survival pro, but this is a really good opportunity for people to bust open their kits and put it to use and figure out what works for them and what they wish they had.
Well, here we are, 20 pilots about to embark on a simulated crash survival scenario.
I'm excited. Let's have fun.
We're all smiles for now, but I'm not sure that's gonna last. Travis, like me, is a city slicker, and he might be one to keep an eye on because I'm not sure he's as prepared as some of the others.
I'm about 8% comfortable going into this experience. I'm a web developer, so I don't do outdoorsy things.
We're about 10K northeast of the Kelowna airport, and we're going to take 20 people in a bus here tonight and have some fun.
And before we've even arrived to our sites, Brad has a near deal breaker of a problem with wet feet.
This is my first breakdown what I would normally fly in. If I'm flying to the top of the mountain, I'm doing something on the mountain, I have my boots, but as a regular course of flying.
So how far did you make it before
I
the
made
first?
it 250 feet.
Well, there's a little cut line that goes along the back here. Everybody's going to be on this crap wet ground. You're not on snow. We made an assessment to say that that would be a bit difficult. And what I'm going to try to do is beat down the trail because it is knee deep in certain areas along this cut line. If anything happens, stay put. So you just have to yell out. Your neighbor will come help.
The Sartecs were going to be checking on us throughout the night, asking us to rate our morale on a scale of 1 to 10, and it was really cool to see how that kept changing.
Make the best out of it and test your skills as much as you want to test your skills.
What kind of brought the course on was last summer there was an aircraft that had to make a forced landing on a glacier up near Pemberton. And there's 3 guys on board and they're all wearing shorts, t-shirts, flip-flops, no flight plan or ELT. Ended up there for the night.
And in that case, with no ELT or flight plan, it was lucky that Search and Rescue did find those guys the next day.
Ryan's actually got a really good story. You know the airplane that landed on the glacier last year?
I put a pin on the map where I thought the plane would be, and I was about 1.5 miles away from where that plane was.
Wow.
But having no idea rescue was coming, that group had made the risky decision to abandon the airplane.
The dude was about to strap him to a log and like try to ride the river down. Like he totally would have died. And that makes a good point too, is that what's the point of getting 1.5 miles away from the aircraft to then have to make camp?
Yeah.
But for the sake of our scenario, we did simulate that we had to hike away from the aircraft.
Good locations. Stevie.
Alright, so this is my site. Looks like I got a lot of wood to work with. My first question was about the ground. In Ontario, I would have used rocks or something to contain the fire, but I don't have that option here. I'm going to use this for a shelter. I got a tip from my TFP course to bring work gloves, and this is awesome. Right now I feel pretty invincible. So I'm trying to kind of make 3 different piles. Firewood was definitely everyone's first priority. And according to the other people's progress, I definitely needed to step it up.
Looks good, man.
It's a little sill tarp. I bought it a couple of years ago, never used it, so I've spent lots of time in the bush as a kid, and we'd pack up stuff and go camping and sleep in the bush and sleep by the river and stuff. So, but this is the first time of true survival roughing it, so to speak.
Even Travis seems to be doing all right for the time being.
Well, I'm trying to make my fire. This is my lean-to over my hammock. I've laid in it, it works, and now we're trying to start fire.
All right, I'm not really checking the time, but I think it's been half an hour. I'm feeling a lot less disorganized. Initially, I just literally didn't know what to do. I think I paced around. Now I have a plan. I'm making 3 piles of wood. Got my tinderish stuff, medium, thicker, and I definitely have some good thick stuff in the back there that I can work with later. Survive. Here we go. I think this is gonna make a good shelter thingy. I'm really planning on doing something super basic. I'm just gonna use this to make a lean-to. So in Ontario, we have a lot of rocks kind of everywhere. So I really, in my head, assumed I was just not gonna have a problem. I was gonna make a rock sort of campfire circle thing to contain my fire. I was also gonna use that to balance my pot on. I had this all planned out in my head, but I don't have those options. So it's all gonna have to be wood. So I'm gonna use the wet, crappy wood that I've got here to kind of make my fire containment. 5 hours of daylight left, roughly. 5 hours of daylight. For Brad, this hits close to home as he did need to get rescued one time. I'm gonna touch on it here, but visit his channel for the full story.
So we are now to the area of my rescue. I was building an ice rink. It was February. It was a nice day. It was a day exactly like today, spectacular. So my camp location was, we dug this cave right down there.
Now keep in mind, we got to this really remote area within minutes of flying in both the helicopter and the Comanche with Ryan.
Yeah, it doesn't take much to get into some pretty sticky terrain out here. That's Widgeon Lake there.
Right, that's Brad stomping ground.
Yeah.
We got here a little quicker than he does.
Yeah, so I mean, this mountain flying for a lot of people out here is second nature. It's kind of how they train. And for me, I grew up, learning to fly on the coast here. Mountains have never been really something I love doing. It's sometimes, a necessary evil of getting to where you want to go around here. But you got to treat it with respect because it's something that will bite you hard and fast.
Ryan's always helped me out each time I've been to BC, and on this trip, he threw me a really important item to add to my kit.
How you liking that saw? Good?
Yeah. It's a giant jackknife, and it replaces the hatchet. So yeah, it's light. You can't really hurt yourself with it like you can a hatchet. It's cutting through wood like butter. Trevin dropped in on Travis to see how he was doing.
I succeeded so well
with
my first 41 fires. Fire attempt number 42. Have these shoes.
But jokes aside, wet feet before sunset with no alternative is not a good spot to be in.
You'll be fine, I believe in you.
Now I can start working on shelter. Now this might seem like cheating, but I have a teeny tiny, super lightweight chair. So anytime I'm traveling to like a fly-in or something, our camping trip, I've got this and I'm gonna use it. Oh boy, just like that, eh? Everything changes, it's raining. Just like that. I was peacefully thinking through things, taking too long, and it's getting wet.
Just started sprinkling, so bad news for these guys. Stevie.
I don't know what I'm doing. He doesn't know. I'm spinning my wheels a little bit. Part of the problem is I'm still sort of in slight filmmaker mode. I've been taking my sweet time to figure out a shelter plan. If it just started pouring right now, I would be screwed.
Yeah.
Got a slight panic for a minute there. That was a warning. It rained for a second. I'm gonna use this space blanket, try to make a lean-to. The classroom portion of this course started with the StarTechs asking us what we thought were the 5 most important items that should be in our kit. And by the end of this adventure, almost all of us had amended that list of 5 things. We'll be talking about that more in part 2.
The rain hasn't picked up yet, but if it does, I could see it being a real issue for these guys. I'm glad I have a tent tonight.
Quick and dirty is how I'm rolling right now. I'm kind of trying to pretend I had one of these real crappy space blankets. I've got some better stuff, but I'm gonna see if this suffices. So my plan, so I figure, I got a fire. I'm gonna put my wood here where it's gonna be dry if it rains. I can lean my head, so like I can doze off. It ain't pretty, but I think it's doable. This is gonna be a feeder log. A really cool tip that StarTechs gave us was not to waste time processing and cutting down big logs like this. You can just feed them into your fire as it's needed throughout the night.
So here we are at 5,300 feet above Widgeon Lake, and about 200 feet down below me was a location that I built an ice rink on. We were almost finished. We had 1 day of work left. And the machine I was flying was a carburetor-equipped R44 Raven. It needed to get started every 2 hours, to keep it warm. I let the machine sit an extra probably 15-20 minutes. Temperature dropped from around 0, pretty quickly got down to about -10. Go to start and But I get cell reception here. If that mountain wasn't in the way, I'd be looking at my home airport. So I run to the edge of the lake. I call my mechanic. I say, can you come get me? Because he's with a helicopter company 2 miles, 3 miles that way. He said, that temperature's dropping so fast. We put the machines away about 20 minutes ago. I've already left the airport. There's no way I'm going to get up there by legal. I said, okay, no problem. We're committed to spending the night. Be here first light. Bring hand warmers, blankets, and hot chocolate, and we're going to need.
That ended up being a serious miscalculation, and they did not make it to the morning.
And obviously you want to be really familiar with the weather out here because the conditions can change pretty quickly.
Local airports, weather only covers a few miles around the field, so all else fails, sometimes you just got to go and have a look. Flexibility is the name of the game.
And that could also be a reason why you could be stuck if you landed out somewhere that all of a sudden conditions could change. Even if search and rescue knows where you are, they might not be able to get you for a day.
Sure, absolutely.
And that's why we're out here trying to survive the unplanned night out. Alright, Flintstone. Alright, so I pre-made cotton balls with a bit of petroleum jelly at home in my kit. What you kind of do is you tease it out like a troll doll hair. Let's see if this works. Yes. All right, tinder. All right, so I have my fire going. I was a little hasty there, quickly getting the wood ready with my gloves off and cut myself. So I'm actually doing all right, but Travis is near his breaking point.
My last fire died. I didn't want to like let it die and let them like try to come save me again. So I tried to light another fire and then it went out again. I tried to light another fire and that went out again too.
All right, so it is raining, but I have a fire and a shelter. It's not like the best, but it's not the worst. Damn it. This was a pretty big setback and quite demoralizing, to be honest. That's not good. Well, it seems like I put my fire on the wrong side of my shelter.
I'm gonna think for a minute. I'm gonna see what the wind does for the next like 5 minutes.
All right, I'm going with plan B for the shelter. My shelter over here has just become a smoke collector. So I'm gonna try it here. I'm gonna try to figure it out. But once it gets dark, shit is gonna get real.
Yeah.
At this point, you're kind of behind the 8 ball on shelter and wood.
And it was a bit of a wake-up call when the Sartex checked in on me.
My concern right now is your firewood. Where is your firewood supply? Yeah. Take off a couple of base layers so you can feel free to sweat if you need to and get down to it, right? Yep. Cool.
That was not the news I was hoping to get. And when they got to Travis on the rounds, they ended up pulling him out.
It was tough. I've learned a few things. I was 0% prepared for surviving in the wilderness. I knew that the rain was coming, so I wanted to start my fire before the rain hit, but because I rushed it, my fire didn't start well, and then once the rain hit, it just went to shit. I'm gonna do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
First class is open. I'll sign up for it, so.
With sunset imminent and Travis having been pulled, we were all feeling the pressure. It was going to be a long, cold night, and there was still a lot more work to do before dark.
I'm feeling a lot better because I know what I'm going to do now. I got a better plan. I got a lot of firewood. I've got a big tree down behind us, and then I'm moving the shelter to here. So far, the smoke has not gone this way, so I think I'll be all right.
And my fire was finally hot enough to start boiling my water for dinner. This rain is just insidious. It just keeps coming in the tiniest amount, so you fool yourself into thinking you can be in it. And then suddenly you're like, oh my God, it's just soaking through. If I don't do something about this soon, I'm not gonna make the night. I need to finish working and then change and then stay out of it.
So that's a good cut right there. I honestly didn't think I was gonna need Band-Aids on this trip, but I got them.
Talking? I think we're talking.
I got shelter part 2 done and fire went out. Oh, it's back. Sorta.
But I'm not soaked. I'm not shivering or anything. I'll give myself an 8. I went down to like a 5 earlier, man.
Whoa.
It was mostly because I was tired and knowing I'm about to eat this feels good. Chicken and rice. But knowing I had to move the shelter and not knowing what I was gonna do. So check it out. This looks like shit from far away, but check it out. All right, here's how I'm gonna rock this thing.
Get in here. Look at that. You're right, this does look like shit. Oh no!
Uh-oh.
That was not good.
I don't know if you guys saw this, but what caused that?
The
pot.
Yeah,
The pot tipped.
Yeah, the pot tipped.
I'd accidentally kicked one of my feeder logs, which cost me my boiling water and my fire at the same time.
Okay, so I just went in real time and on camera from an 8 to a 4.
Take him out.
God damn it, I was ready to make my dinner. So that was just part 1 of a 2-part series. Check back for what we're calling the worst night ever. And definitely check out Brad's channel for his side of the story. Thanks again to sponsors and supporters for helping us make these productions. And please visit flightshops.com to join our mailing list so we can reach you outside of YouTube's subscription system. And play our contest. The prize this month is crazy awesome. And until next time, keep your flight chops sharp.
That hatchet bullshit? No. That's coming out of the pack.
Yeah.
That's gonna get...
You want to test drive this?
No, I don't. See, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Test drive it
I don't.
for a minute.
No, no.
This is the shit.
Taylor, hold on.